Murphy at Murtech.com with your daily news update. Okay, here we are on April the 30th in the year of our Lord 2026. Time flies when you're having fun. April's over already. We have a lot of great information for you tonight. Let me jump over here to my Rumble channel, Murtech on Rumble. This is the live stream we're going over tonight, episode 1903. Let me jump into that. Pause the live stream. Hi, Debbie BS. Nice to see you could join us. Let me close that out. Slide down here and click the Show More button to expand out the description box. We have information from Dan Bongino. Bongino Report with Vince again tonight. I shared him last night, but he had some good stuff on today that I want to share with you again. Rubin Report and Wendy Bell Radio. But before we get into that, I want to give some shout outs here to Rummy Martin 29, just started following my channel. Drew Van Runkle? Yeah, Drew Van Runkle, I guess that's an LE, just started following my channel. Wombat 427 just started following my channel. So thank you very much, folks, for following my channel. I greatly appreciate that. I hope you're tuned in, and I hope you enjoy the content. Okay, Debbie BS was busy. She reposted my episode 1902, and Viper Senior commented on my episode 1902. Debbie BS commented on my extra 682A and 682B. Debbie BS also commented on my extra 683A and 683B and 683C. And Debbie BS also commented, and DCZ Holding commented on my extra 684A. Debbie BS commented on my extra 684B and 684C. And Debbie BS commented on my extra 685A. So she must have had some catching up to do, because she viewed those and commented on all of them. So let me give this a thumbs up. Okay, last night I made a comment about love it, just love it, Mac. And I gave a challenge out there for someone to tell me what movie that line came from. Actually, it was from the movie Damn Yankees from 1958. Ray Walson played a part in that. He made that line. He said that line. He also starred in My Favorite Martian. And let me just click on this and show you a little segment. Okay, now what this story is about, is this guy right here is a big Washington Senators baseball fan. Now, that's no more the Washington Senators. They've changed their name. The team ended, and then it came back, and I don't follow the Washington Senators that much, the Washington baseball team, but at any rate, this guy was a big Washington Senators fan, and he just got through watching a ball game, and of course they got beat again because the Washington Senators never really had a good team. But here's where he meets Applegate is his name in this. That's the part that Ray Walson plays. And Ray Walson is actually the devil in this movie. And he makes a deal with this guy. So let's take it up. This is about 3 minutes and 30 seconds here, and then we'll get to the line where he says, love it, just love it, Mac.
Wham! One long ball hitter, that's what we need. I'd sell my soul for one long ball hitter.
Good evening.
Who are you?
A man who agrees with you.
Agrees?
One long ball hitter. That's what the team needs.
You're right about that. You live around here?
My name is Applegate, and I think we have something in common. A love of the national game.
You bet. You bet. Care to sit down?
Thank you. You don't like to see the Senators in 7th place.
Well, they may pull together yet.
I'm here to make you a proposition. Not only would you like to see Washington win a pennant, but your secret yearning all your life has been to be a baseball player yourself.
I wasn't so bad in high school.
Not so bad. They were scouting you for Kansas City. You still got your spiked shoes and your glove. They're up in your bedroom.
Who told you?
Would you like to be the greatest baseball player in all history?
Big joke.
No joke. You can be a great ball player.
I can't even bend over and touch my toes.
Try it. Just for laughs.
What do you know?
With my help, a lot of things come easy. Oh, do you smoke?
Hey, how'd you pull that off?
I'm handy with fire.
Who are you?
I am quite a famous character, Mr. Boyd. I have historical significance, too.
Because I said so. Well, all right, if Meg's awake, all right.
Listen, mister, I don't know what the gag is, but I mean, what's the idea?
For heaven's sake, Joe.
All right, I paused it here because do you know who this is right here? That's Edith, Archie Bunker's wife, on All in the Family. This, again, this movie was made back in 1958.
My goodness, talking to yourself. So you finally flapped your lid. What are you doing out here talking to yourself in the dark?
Talking to who?
That's a sign of old age, you know, Joe, talking to yourself. Is anything the matter?
No, I was just thinking about the game.
Oh, we went to the game yesterday. It was Ladies' Day.
And I must say, the hot dogs out of the park aren't what they used to be. I had the poorest hot dog yesterday I ever had.
Is Meg still up?
She went to bed a while ago.
Well, we'll see her at Bridge Club tomorrow.
We just came from our ballet lesson.
Okay, but anyway, it goes on from here. This is just a little clip from YouTube. And he makes a deal with the devil, sells his soul to become a baseball player. And this little snippet here, let me go over here and
From the
start
Washington
playing
manager?
this.
Why make something out of the Yankees? They're a swell bunch of fellas, and
Yes, they're very polite. And then they beat your brains out.
the Yanks are just another ball club as far as we're concerned.
I read somewhere they're talking about handicapping the Yankees. Making them carry
So
extra
there he
weight,
is. Applegate here turned him into a young man.
like racehorses.
Yeah? So what's on your mind, Mac?
Applegate is my name. My card, sir.
I'm busy. See my secretary.
Mr. Van Buren, I am a longtime fan of the Washington Senators.
Listen, Mac, I told you I'm busy.
And for some time now, I have been beating the bushes for talent. And this is my protege, young Joe Hardy. Joe's quite a boy with a bat in his hands, and I'd like you to give him a trial.
Where you been playing, son?
Here and there.
Where's here and there?
Well, if you just give me a chance, Mr. Van Buren, just let me hit a few.
What have you got to lose?
Smokey.
He can hit the ball a country mile.
You want me, Benny?
Yeah, take this boy down to the batting cage.
Gee, thanks, Mr. Van Buren, and I certainly
Tell
hope I'd only...
Buster to throw him a few.
Sure thing. Let's go, Mac.
Let's go, Mac.
Just a minute. Where do you think you're going?
Well, my protege may need my advice.
Buster will give him all the advice he needs. If you want to watch, go out in the stands. The field is for ball players. You don't mind, do you?
Love it, Mac. Just love it.
Okay, I guess that was a big deal.
Are you coming, my attractive friend?
I guess that was a big
Well,
deal
I'll
back
look.
then. Mac, calling everybody Mac. But at any rate, love it. Just love it, Mac. Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, let's jump back here and see what Dan Bongino has to say. If you want to watch that movie, it's an hour and 50 minutes. But right here's the link to it, Damn Yankees, on Tubity.com. Okay, Dan Bongino, A Powerful Response, episode 2506. Let's see what this is all about.
So again, I addressed the reply guys and others. And one of the reasons you see this in this space, you guys and ladies out there, you work for a living, you add value. Plumbers, electricians, police officers, military folks, you add value. I've said often, I'm in this space. It's my business. I'm proud. I'm happy to be back. I was happy to serve for the year and come back here. I'm honored to be on the air. However, you guys are where it's at. You are. It's not like, a faux celebration of it's a real celebration of what you do. Everything we do, from farmers to our military folks, enables us to live in this prosperous society. We're wealthy and prosperous because we have material things. Material things make you wealthy. You can talk about emotional well-being and psychological well-being. That's all important too. But the hard reality is the United States is rich because we have stuff you all out there built and created if you work for a living. Problem is in this space is people like to talk, and they talk a lot about other people. And there's a lot of envy in this space. And people just don't like when other people succeed. But to allow that envy to overtake you and to imply at some point that someone like Erica Kirk, who lost her husband to an assassination caught on video where the world watched, to imply that Erica was somehow involved in this with some hidden knowledge you never actually disclosed. Folks, I can't imagine. I honestly don't know what to say. I don't. It's like I went through a kind of a personal tragedy not that long ago. And there are times I don't have the words really means I just don't have the words. I don't know why you would do something like this. It can't just be envy. It can't just be I'm a bad person. There's something there I just don't understand. Hat tip Milk Bar TV for this. This is just a compilation of the Candace Owens show and repeated implications that somehow this lovely, beautiful human being, Erica, who's always been there for me and a number of people in the movement, just like Charlie was, is somehow involved in the murder of her husband. Ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you, candidly, I don't have the words, man. I just don't understand this. But I just want to show to you before I get to the response that we're not making this up. This is real. Check this out.
But I'm starting to think that the assassination of Charlie Kirk was something akin to a regicide, right? The assassination of a king to install a new ruler who the king would have never approved of. Anyways, back at headquarters, I am told it's business as usual. And it's kind of giving me like, I don't know, LBJ when he gets sworn in that famous picture. Unfortunately, sworn in. Unfortunately, of course, he's sad in this photo. Gosh, he's obviously not wanting to be the president of the United States. JFK was shot and killed. And now LBJ has to step up, unfortunately. But I got to be honest, I wasn't there. I don't think LBJ was actually that upset. I don't know why. Vibes. The vibes just aren't vibing for me in that picture, knowing, as I do, and as Charlie did believe, that LBJ was involved, which then implicates the feds as having been involved, which then implicates the Dallas police station as being involved. I believe Israel was obviously involved, that they were the ones that wanted him dead. And when Ben came out swinging, I was going, oh, something's very wrong here. Basically, Erica here is pulling the LBJ. And what I mean by that is as soon as LBJ got into office after JFK's assassination, he reversed course on every single one of JFK's policies. JFK's enemies seemingly became LBJ's friends. Erica appears to be doing that to me.
I don't know. I don't know, man. I love doing my show, and it's a talk show. You're supposed to talk. I don't know, man. I see you all have a lot of comments on the chat on this too. I was glad to see Erica, who's a real warrior, come out yesterday, and despite ongoing, not comprehensible, I can't comprehend the grief. I can't, what she's going through, come out yesterday with a very powerful response. And it's about a minute, but I want you to listen to every word of this. I feel an obligation to put this out there to help her correct this sick, deranged, demonic record. Listen to this.
In this culture we're living in, absorbs disagreement as a form of personal betrayal. It turns having an opposing viewpoint into a moral crime worthy of punishment. And here's what I've realized through all of this, truly, having lived through quite literal hell these past 7 months, if you strip someone of their humanity long enough, you will arrive at the chilling conclusion that they don't deserve to exist at all. Every morning I wake up to a new headline lying about me. I have comedians dressing up in whiteface. I have people saying I'm not fit to be CEO. And I have Candace Owens claiming I murdered my husband. And the list goes on and on and on. There is a serious epidemic of dehumanization plaguing this country.
Guys, ladies, we're in a really, really dark spot. Because you have a thought in your head and a platform, and that platform for Candace and others is substantial. Don't fake the funk on this and be like, oh, well, she's irrelevant. No, she's not. I was listening to some commentary by Jeremy Boring the other day, formerly, I don't think he's with the Daily Wire anymore, but he was on a show and he gave an accurate assessment. If you're telling yourself like, oh, well, her audience is shrinking. Her audience, folks, I'm in this space. I'm an investor in this space. I watch these numbers because it's in both a personal interest of mine for free speech and a professional interest, because this is where I've invested my life's assets in free speech and spreading ideas and platforms to do so. Don't kid yourself like, oh, she has a small audience. She doesn't. Her audience is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, on the political commentary side. That is not true, that there's no audience there. No, it's shrinking from whatever, like sky high to, high, which is still really high. I know that because I see clowns and doomers. Justin and I were laughing about it this morning. They do that with our show. The doomers and the Jew haters are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's Spotify. Our video's not on Spotify. We're exclusive to Rumble, you dipshits. So it doesn't matter. Again, don't over-explain. Every time we put out a podcast chart, hey, thanks for the support. Here's what you got, some moron like, well, go with another chart. Then we go with another chart. They do this to me. Don't do that. That's not true with them. Some of these people do have big audiences. People I sincerely disagree with. Hell, I've invested my money in giving people I disagree with an open platform to speak. But don't kid yourself. This is a significant sized tumor in the American body politic. And the best thing you can do is go out there and take it on like Erica bravely did yesterday. You can't ignore it. We have never run from it. We have never run from difficult questions. Some of these people were friends of mine. A couple of them are still friends, and I just don't agree. Folks, speak out. Let me tell you, when I was in high school, we had Brother Leo, since passed. I went to a Catholic school. It was run by the Maris brothers. And Brother Leo was the guidance counselor, and everybody loved Brother Leo. If you went to Archbishop Malloy, you remember Brother Leo. He was just an amazing guy. And he would have these groups, and it was an all-boys school back then. But, we'd go in there, and they had these groups, and you could just go and chat, and you'd talk. And he'd say, hey, Dan, real men walk alone. And that applies to you too. Sometimes in a group of people, you're just going to have to walk alone, even if they're throwing, rotten tomatoes at you and screaming, there's the cholera, all right? I address
But joining me right now, Senator Ron Johnson with the latest on everything he's discovering. Senator, great to have you with us today.
Morning, Vince. Thanks for having me on.
Good morning, sir. Okay, so yesterday I was staggered by what you released, and it included all of these revelations about very dire consequences from the COVID vaccines and the fact that the Biden administration didn't want the public to know. What can you share with us this morning?
So let me set this up. On March 1st of 2021, Peter Marks, who's head of CBER, that's the Organization for Biologic Evaluation and Review, in charge of surveilling the vaccine safety systems. Okay, they were all touting VAERS is going to be great, could detect even small signals. On March 1st of 2021, this is less than 3 months after the emergency use authorization, he was briefed by the woman in FDA who was working with the inventor of the mathematical algorithm they used to analyze VAERS data. And he was briefed that because of the unusual nature of the explosion in adverse events and the fact you had two different injections, Moderna and Pfizer, that were similar, that their current analytical method was going to mask, it was going to hide safety signals. And so they come up with an updated algorithm that would unmask that and allow those safety signals to be seen. Thanked them for their work, did nothing. 26 days later, that woman and the inventor of the algorithm had an updated system, and they ran the VAERS through it, and they reported to senior FDA officials that there were 49 extreme cases of masking, hiding of signals, and 25 safety signals, including sudden cardiac death, pulmonary infarction, a number of different types of strokes, Bell's palsy. I mean, life-threatening types of adverse events, showing a strong safety signal, and they shunted her off to the side. They told her, we didn't ask you to do this, don't share it with the public. She said that she thought she was a pest, persona non grata. So again, this is March of 2021. They knew this. They knew the safety surveillance system was going to hide the safety signals, and yet until now, they continue to say, well, we didn't see, there weren't any safety signals being shown. One of the things I did in the hearing is the injection injured, React 19, Brianne Dressen, they were being treated. Starting in March of 2021, they were being treated within NIH successfully, not totally cured, but they were receiving successful treatment, about 23 of them. They were told to stay silent, that they would conduct the study, and then they would release all that information to doctors so the other people in their support groups could get treatment as well. They never released the study. They're being diagnosed as COVID injection injured. This is March 2021. So we released a video of Peter Marks for the next year and a half saying, we just don't see a safety signal. We don't see any safety signals,
Sorry, just to be clear, the NIH, the government, was giving treatments to the vaccine injured, but wanted to keep it secret that they were under care?
Right. They told them to stay quiet. And of course, the vaccine injured did, because they didn't want to stop their treatments. They didn't want to stop the study. They wanted that to be made public, and they were told it'd be made public. They were told that their injuries would be made public. To this day, they've never been made public, other than those injection injured individuals themselves finally going public when they realized that NIH, FDA were going to completely violate the assurances, the promises they made them.
So in addition to some of the dire side effects that you described, some of the safety signals that you just laid out, also there's some others that are in your report. You referred to dementia associated with the Pfizer vaccine, as well as, quote, death and sudden death, end quote, associated with the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines. That's as bad as it gets, Senator. Death and sudden death. And these were safety signals the Biden administration was covering up?
Yeah, and I understand too. So death is separated from sudden death, which is separated from sudden cardiac death. So you combine all of those, the safety signal had to be screaming at them. And that's one of the points I made is, listen, I've been vilified. I've been ridiculed for talking about this since literally March, April of 2021. I didn't need a sophisticated mathematical algorithm. I put a chart up that shows the number of deaths reported through VAERS associated with the vaccine since the start of VAERS in 1990. couple hundred a year, anaphylactic shock, that kind of thing. Then in 2021, the year of the COVID injection, over 21,000. And by the way, that year, when I did that calculation, 32% of those deaths were occurring on the day of vaccination or within one or 2 days. We're up to 39,000 deaths worldwide. 24% of those deaths associated with VAERS or with the COVID injection on VAERS occur on the day of injection or within 1 or 2 days. Now, I know COVID or the VAERS doesn't prove causation, but that is a correlation. I mean, let's face it, if your loved one went in, got a COVID injection, died that day, or was feeling kind of sick, died the next day or within 2 days, I think you would be pretty certain that it was the injection that caused it, right? These people were perfectly healthy. They get a COVID injection. They're dead or they're severely disabled for life. Again, I'm very convinced that the COVID injections caused a lot of death, a lot of disability, a lot of harm.
So everything about the COVID injections was completely novel. Clearly, like any observer would look at this and go, okay, it's right. It's in the market immediately. It hasn't really had any sort of meaningful testing period. Now it's out, millions of people getting injections. So it would stand to reason that you would do real science to assess what are the risks. So as you explain it, you got this woman who's doing real science on this subject and it's being suppressed. So the whole time we were being told to trust the science, the Biden administration was actively suppressing the science, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's sick. It's literally sick. They were treating the vaccine injured. They were diagnosing them as injection injured. They told them they were going to release that. They're going to make it public, and they never have. They never did. And, of course, all that time they were saying safe and effective.
Yeah.
They went ahead and they got the authorization, the licensure. Then they pushed it on pregnant women. They pushed it on children who had virtually zero risk of injury from COVID disease. We also now know from the Vinny Prasad memo that internally within FDA, they've looked at 96 autopsies of children and conclusively come to the conclusion that at least 10 of those children were killed by the COVID injection. Even in Bobby Kennedy's FDA, I cannot get that information yet. I'm probably going to have to subpoena it.
But that's a situation. By the way, that's a clear situation. COVID wasn't killing kids, but the injections were.
I think so. And again, understand there are so very few autopsies. The medical establishment discouraged autopsies during COVID. They didn't want to know. And obviously, Peter Marks didn't want to have a safety surveillance system that actually worked. He loved the fact that he had a safety surveillance system, a complex algorithm that was hiding the signal so he could go out there publicly and say, we're just not seeing a signal. I know it's because you're not looking. It's because you're using an algorithm that is going to hide the safety signal.
In fact, they told us to ignore the VAERS system. Remember when all that data was coming out originally and people were going, wait a second, we're even in the broken system, people were seeing signals that are like, that's concerning. They kept saying, oh, just ignore that. Well, then why do we have it? Why do we even have a VAERS system if we're to ignore all of the side effects that people are reporting?
Well, in October of 2020, before they got the emergency use authorization, they were touting VAERS. They said, we got this excellent safety surveillance system here. It'll be able to detect these signals. Yeah, and then they said, a bunch of cranks, a bunch of anti-vaxxers can load that up there, even though they knew full well the vast majority of reports to VAERS come from medical professionals. So no, they were immediately, when they saw those signals, they immediately had to denigrate the very system they set up. And by the way, they also had something called vSafe, which set up specifically for COVID. 10 million people voluntarily, reported their symptoms. And Aaron Siri and ICANN had to sue twice to get them to release those results, which showed 7.7% of the 10 million people after their injection sought medical care, 25% lost time at work or couldn't continue their daily activity. That's why they want to release that information.
It's insane. Have your Pfizer donations gone up since you've been doing all of this?
My what?
Your Pfizer donations. Is Pfizer calling you? They're like, hey, we want to give you more money now, Ron Johnson. Thanks to all your excellent.
I don't think they're going to be holding any events for me.
No, but seriously though, have the pharmaceutical companies tried to twist your arm on all of this? Have they been trying to beat down your door when you cover all this?
No, I'm talking to the drug companies that are developing rare earth or rare therapies and drugs for rare diseases.
Yeah.
And trying to advocate for the rare disease community. So I'm being contacted by those companies who are having a heck of a time getting their drugs approved for emergency use by people that have no other hope.
Yeah.
So I'm the champion of right to try, so I'll champion that cause as well.
Yeah, you just want people to be healthy. I really respect that. All right, Senator Ron Johnson, thank you very much for an update on this. We'll keep tracking everything you produce. Really appreciate you, sir.
Have a great day.
There he is, Senator Ron.
Okay, there we have it, folks. And yeah, I heard him talking about this. I kind of listened to these videos as I'm updating Mertech.com and got it on like a high speed. And as I said, I started this off about the 46-minute mark. Now I will go ahead and reset this back to the beginning, maybe after his introduction and commercials, and let you hear more of it, because Vince does have some great information. I mean, you talk about no nonsense, common sense, logic, and truth. Folks, I've known about this. I've heard about information like this since 1921. I mean, 2021. And, I didn't get the vaccine and I never got COVID, okay? I took vitamin D, I took zinc, I took magnesium, vitamin C. And, that was one of the first things that I heard about when you were allowed to talk about it. But, as time went on, I had started out doing this on YouTube, creating these videos. I didn't last but a month. But I didn't last a month. Thank goodness Rumble was there so I could create my channel on Rumble. But YouTube, nope, they wouldn't let me tell the truth. All right, let me click on this Rumble link and show you that this video does come from Bongino Report. This is Vince. This is the video I shared with you. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All righty, let's jump back here and see what Rubin Report, Dave Rubin, has to say about Tim Walz humiliated as Kash Patel responds to his idiotic tweet. Okay. Let's check it out.
Sources tell Fox that federal agents are raiding about 22 businesses across Minneapolis this morning, and sources say many of them are tied to Somali-owned operations.
What is it that put Nick Shirley on the map? It's that he exposed the fraud in Minnesota. And then what happened yesterday? Well, there were absolutely massive, the biggest yet FBI raids in Minneapolis.
Large-scale raids targeting federal fraud currently underway. Federal agents seen leaving the Quality Learning Center. And Brooke Taylor has more on that and what they're looking for. Brooke, good morning.
Hi, Bill. Good morning. Yeah, we have had a photographer there at the daycare since this morning, capturing video of those federal agents just going in and out of the building, collecting evidence as part of the DOJ's fraud investigation in Minnesota. Take a look at this video here. Sources tell Fox that federal agents are raiding about 22 businesses across Minneapolis this morning, and sources say many of them are tied to Somali-owned operations. All of this comes after that viral YouTube video from Nick Shirley. It was back in December. In that video, he visited different child care centers, and you'll remember they were either closed or there were just no children inside, despite receiving state child care funding.
In 2025, global spending on cancer research reached $356 billion, while Big Pharma's cancer drug revenue has increased 70% over the last decade. At the same time, cancer rates in people under 50 have doubled. Whether it's due to lifestyle, the environment, or other factors, one thing's clear. Many people feel pharmacies will eliminate parasites within. Okay, so 22 businesses in Minnesota, largely Somali-run, are now being looked at because of Nick Shirley. And then what subsequently has happened to Nick Shirley? Well, he's got people threatening to kill him. Did he do anything bad? Did he do anything mean? Did he do anything racist or anything else? Obviously, the answer to all of that is no. He quite literally did the reverse. But they've created the conditions that, oh, you're exposing fraud. There happens to be a lot of fraud in the Somali community. And by the way, Ayaan Hirsi Ali, who I had on the show months ago, who is also Somali, she talked about how the Somali community, that it's kind of baked into some of their cultural norms to you abuse a system as much as possible once you're in it. She talked about that from a Somali perspective. but now he's under death threat. And then this one is just wild. I honestly thought this was AI when I saw it yesterday for the first time. This is now Governor Tim Walz. To the backdrop of these raids that are happening, he wrote this: if you commit fraud in Minnesota, you're going to get caught. And that's exactly what we saw today. We catch criminals when state and federal agencies share information. Joint investigations work, and securing justice depends on it. That has got to win the most ironic tweet of 2026. Period. We can end it. We're not even 5 months into this thing. End it right now. The guy who is in charge of the fraud, who's going to go down because of the fraud, who isn't running for a re-election because of the fraud, he is now like, who also accused ICE of being racist and get out of our streets and we're not going to work with you and we're going to defund you and everything else. He's now, because he sees that this thing can't be stopped, he suddenly is like, yeah, well, we love the FBI and you guys could fix some of this stuff up and everything else. And Kash Patel, head of our FBI, he saw that and he wrote this: come again? This FBI and DOJ with our DHS partners drafted and executed every search warrant today. But go ahead and take credit for our work while we smoke out the fraud plaguing Minnesota under your governorship. Like, if you think that Tim Walz had anything to do with helping the federal government on this, well, I've got a quality Leering Center to sell you.
All right, there you have it, folks. Let me click on the Rumble link here. Tim Walz, and he's something else. Okay, this is the video from Dave Rubin, the Rubin Report that I shared with you. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same for me. All right, let's jump back here and see what Wendy Bell has to say. Okay, let me get this going for you. We're going to start this right after she does the Pledge of Allegiance.
So I was sitting inside my house this morning. We're under construction. I've got tarps all over our house. We've got Amish guys crawling up all over the roof, putting in all these new skylights, ripping out our roof, putting in a new one. We've got a construction project going on in the backyard where a trench has literally been dug. There are posts. The whole thing is mud and filthy and wow. I kind of feel the way as a homeowner today. I think a lot of American citizens have felt over the last 10 years. And this is how I see President Trump, which I like. And I like that he's a builder. I like that he's a developer, that he's into real estate, that he understands drawings. He understands the finer ingredients that go into a magnificent structure, whether it be marble or granite or crystal or gold, whatever it is. This president, more than 10 years ago, shared with us a vision that he had that is sort of like me standing across the street from my house, which looks like a bomb hit. When I close my eyes and I see what it's going to look like in its final product. And sometimes I do that. I'll take Murphy outside. We'll walk around the neighborhood and specifically around the cul-de-sac that's directly across from our house, from my driveway. And I'll walk him down the road and we'll come up the bend and I'll look at this house that my husband and I bought 25 years ago that had 11 windows in it. That's all. It had 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and a yard that was really a joke. But it had so much promise. There was a flat backyard, needed a lot of work. But I could imagine our kids playing back there. There was a line of sight from the kitchen. We decided to blow out one of the walls so I could be in the kitchen cooking and watch to the backyard and see where all of the kids were. And that is where they grew up and where the neighborhood kids grew up. It wasn't at somebody else's house. It was at our house. And the yard took a beating. And the back patio was beaten to shreds. And it was finally time. And we pulled the trigger. And now, as I walk my dog in the neighborhood, I see all of the building blocks of what's going. There's lumber in the driveway. There are trailers in the grass. There's a bobcat in the backyard. There's material all over the place. Dumpsters, tarps. And I'm so excited I can barely stand it. You know when you have a vision of something and you work hard to squirrel away to make it happen. And then in the throes of it, you second guess every decision you made, because everything has a decision. What color this do you want? What kind of that do you want? And you hope that for the money you spend and the time that everything is upside down and your life is kind of in upheaval, that you will have done a good enough job. Sit back and enjoy. This is where we are, ladies and gentlemen. We are in construction. This country is under construction. The tarps are out. The new windows have rolled in. I see the guys with the shingles. I know there's fresh landscaping on the truck coming in a couple weeks. But we got to pour a foundation. We got to put in the pillars. We got to put down the roof. We got to figure it out. And we're going to build the greatest thing that the world has ever seen. President Trump has seen that vision. And he has fought tooth and nail with every Truth Social posting he makes, with every interview he gives, with every international trip he makes, with every decision that gets second guessed by everybody out there who doesn't have literally the weight of the world on their shoulders. And this president, unflinchingly, unwaveringly, unequivocally tells you it's going to be great. And why would you not believe him? Think about what's coming out, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, the UFO files, all the stuff that we know about that. That's back burner right now to me. Did you guys see the stuff? First quarter the GDP, new orders for core capital goods like industrial machinery, the things that you would need to build factories and to build equipment. Those orders in the first quarter of this year exceeded expectations by sixfold. Did you see the initial jobless claims from just last week? The lowest, arguably since 1969. They were expecting 215,000 jobless claims. They got 189,000. It is the lowest in what? 40 years. Personal income has increased, doubling the expectations. Look, do I know that gas is expensive right now? Does it hurt you when you go and do that? Yes. Do products need to come down in price? Absolutely. But you've got a guy who's working on it right now. Why do you think they took down Maduro? Well, one, he sucked. Two, he sucked. But three, right? The people of Venezuela are going to prosper. The people of Iran are going to prosper. Ultimately, he gave Zelensky an olive branch and said, hey, if you guys want to prosper, we'll work with you. We'll help you rebuild. We'll go halvesies in your rare earth minerals. Everybody can get by here. And now what's happening, ladies and gentlemen? He's put a total squeeze on the world oil market. He's squeezing the Strait of Hormuz. Iran can't get a damn thing. China is being choked. And now Venezuela is talking about leaving OPEC, one of the original members. Are you kidding? This one man and his dream, his blueprint for America, much like my builder and me sitting down, going over the plans and the drawings and the sketches, and plotting it all out. Where do you want everything to go? This president has been on it for more than a decade, and they've done everything to stop him. And yet, who rises again like a phoenix from the ashes? That one guy whose one message to all of us has been remarkably consistent. Prepare for the golden age, for it is nearly upon us. Ladies and gentlemen, the story about COVID is coming out, and it's going to be heartbreaking. It's going to be heartbreaking for many of you when you realize how much you were deceived, when you realize how tragically that chapter of world history impacted every single one of us. How they lied about the shots, how they lied about the safety signals, how they lied about all of the side effects. And when you watch television and you saw somebody drop and die suddenly, that wasn't just a fever, ladies and gentlemen, and it's all coming out. And so, if I have one message to this president, as I see he's the foreman of this great construction project, which is called Making America Great Again, I say, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. What can we do to help in the build? That is where we are today, ladies and gentlemen. The opening of the door of accountability, the steady drip of information that you've wanted starting to come out. The reality of just how dark and just how dirty and just how damn corrupt so many people have been, until the one builder came and said, I'm blowing it up. I love it. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, I got to talk to you about this Deepfake Quotes Anonymous video, okay? It's a great video because it breaks down James Comey's message, right? This is not about seashells in the sand per se. It's about something bigger than that. And this is the awakening I'm talking about next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
Alrighty, well, let's get into that. And yeah, that's why I shared that information from Vince Dow, because it's coming out. It's coming out how horrible that was, what a scam that was. A deadly scam.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. You know, I think about the young people. It's primarily young people. If you were to do a profile on someone who would think it would be reasonable to get a rifle and scope out an environment and then crawl up to a perch to then take a shot and try to kill somebody, I think we could all probably say that person is mentally disturbed. If that is the way you believe you should solve a problem, that is the only solution, and somehow you're going to do a service to society and eliminate what you believe is a threat, you have been groomed. You have been manipulated. You have been co-opted, and now you are controlled by something that is extraordinarily dangerous. And that is the point. And I know that you guys have probably seen some of the posts online about stochastic terrorism. How it starts, what it means, how it proceeds. All you need is to foment enough anger to push the same story, to create the same lie and push the same lie again and again and again and again. And it's just a matter of time before somebody is going to listen to your dog whistle and run with it. Now, look, they've done profiles for years. The FBI, criminal profilers have done profiles for years. And they have a general idea of the kind of individual who goes out and kills people, whether it be assassinations or what have you. And it's usually a man. It's usually a younger man. And it's usually somebody who suffered some issue in their life, who found some kind of belonging, some kind of togetherness with really wild thought processes. And then they snap and they take action. So what's James Comey's excuse? Is it just that he is a communist? I don't know, but it's curious when deepfake quotes and the anonymous videos come out. And this was a good one, and I wanted to play it for you. Because in this episode, they break down James Comey's message in the sand. You know, those of us with common sense know it was a psychological trigger wrapped in plausible deniability. And his plausible deniability is insultingly juvenile. However, that is where we are. Listen to this. Very interesting.
What happens when a former head of the FBI posts the numbers 8647 without context? Law enforcement knows what it means. 86 is the code for eliminate, and 47, that's Trump, our 47th president. This wasn't a slip. It wasn't sarcasm. It was a message designed to be just vague enough for plausible deniability and just clear enough for someone unstable to take it literally. This is how political violence starts, with a smirk, a post, a wink to the void. But let's not pretend this is out of character for James Comey. This is the same man who once called himself a communist, not as a teenager confused by ideology, but as a 20-year-old adult, the same age as many Americans who were already laying their lives down for liberty abroad, the same age as those who knew the real price of freedom. Some of us have seen what real communism looks like. We don't romanticize it. We remember the surveillance, the silence, the fear. But Comey, he admired it, and somehow he rose to run the FBI. Now he's online speaking the language of law enforcement hit orders. This isn't politics. This isn't free speech. It's a psychological trigger wrapped in deniability. We see through the charade. We know the code. And we won't be silent while those who once held power now openly flirt with treason. My friends, we are all anonymous. And this time, the threat doesn't come from the shadows. It's posted in plain sight, on a beach, in seashells. Threatening the life of the President of the United States is a grave violation of our nation's laws, said Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche. The grand jury returned an indictment alleging James Comey did just that, at a time when this country has witnessed violent incitement, followed by deadly actions against President Trump and other elected officials. The temperature needs to be turned down, and anyone who dials it up and threatens the life of the president will be held accountable.
I'd moved from communist to whatever I am now. I'm not even sure how to characterize myself politically.
I'd never heard that. Comey the communist. How about, who knew that? Is amazing.
That 2003 article the congressman referred to from New York Magazine, in which Comey says this, quote, "I voted for Reagan. I'd moved from communist to whatever I am now. I'm not even sure how to characterize myself politically."
What's to the left of communist? Crazy? Well, this is an interesting wrinkle, as whom better to make an example of. Knock it off. Stop threatening to kill our president than a former FBI director who damn well knows better. And I think it's legit that federal prosecutors plan to seize Comey's book sale profits after he was indicted on 2 felony counts on charges related to his Trump assassination Instagram post. The Justice Department issued a forfeiture notice because prosecutors believe Comey posted the 8647 Trump threat to help with sales of his forthcoming book called Red Verdict. Kind of a curious thing for a self-described communist to write about. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, why not make somebody at the very top of the pile of dung the face of actual punishment? We'll see what happens. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, did the Supreme Court just give the GOP a monster House majority in the midterms? That's what the left is worried about. Hakeem Jeffries is ready to go nuclear next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
All righty. I'm going to save that for our daily news wrap-up. Let me click on this Rumble link here and show you that this video does come from Wendy Bell Radio. I'm following her channel. I've given her a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Okay, I want to jump back over here and I want to share a little bit more of Damn Yankees with you. This is where he's actually trying out for the Washington Senators.
Sure thing. Let's go, Mac. Just a minute. Where do you think you're going?
Well, my protege may need my advice.
Lester will give him all the advice he needs. If you want to watch, go out the stands. The field is for ball players. You don't mind, do you?
Love it, Mac. Just love it. Are you coming, my attractive friend?
Well, I'll look, but nothing will happen.
You want to bet?
Hey, I can't get these on.
Here, buddy, try these.
Gee, thanks.
What's the idea that your boy can't get his shoes on?
It's my fault. An oversight. The boys grow bigger these days.
talking about?
Have you got a good seat?
Of course not. You can't trust any newspaper woman. But what am I going to do?
Not bad.
I just can't believe the kid is as good as all that. How could he be? Where would he even keeping himself? Henry.
Yes, Benny.
Go out there and tell Buster to throw hard.
He is throwing hard. Can't you hear him grunt?
Well, go out there and tell him to bear down.
Sure, Benny.
Batting practice is one thing, but how does he do in a game, huh?
He's got a nice swing. He's gone. Over the fence.
Just look. This is costing the club money. Hey, kid! Yeah, you! Come here! What did they say your name was? Joe?
Yes, sir, Joe. Joe Hardy.
Well, you hit the ball pretty good.
Well, thanks.
How's your fielding?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Well, I mean, my manager was supposed
You
to be
want
around
me,
someplace.
Joe?
Oh, yeah, Mr. Applegate. They want me to field some.
Well, go ahead, boy. You can do anything. You know that. How you like my boy, Mr. Van Buren?
Not bad.
Not bad. Did he kiss that horsehide right out of the park? Did he get the fat end of the bat on that pill? Bye-bye, baby. How about that?
Hey, who's up there? Mel Allen?
Hey, he's got an arm.
Got an arm? He's got an arm like a cannon.
What's the story on this kid?
You saw where he was hitting him, didn't you? Over the garden wall. Attaboy, Joe. Rifle it home, boy. Rifle it home.
Where's he come from?
His name is Joe Hardy.
Who's he been playing for?
He weighs 193 pounds and he chews juicy fruit.
You're a big help.
Never played anything but sandlot ball, huh? Whereabouts?
Out west.
Yeah, the Midwest. Hannibal, Missouri.
Is that your hometown?
Yeah, that's it. Boy, it sure gets hot there sometimes. We just sit around and wait for that cold air to come down from Canada.
Well, you do pretty good.
Gee, thanks.
I think we might give you a contract. Send you out to one of our farm clubs for a little seasoning.
Seasoning? That's ridiculous.
How about it, kid?
No, I don't think so.
What do you mean?
Well, I haven't got time.
Time?
Baseball's in a rut. If Babe Ruth came here looking for a chance, you would send him to Little Rock for 3 years. All right, Joe, come on. We'll go where we'll be appreciated.
Gee, Mr. Van Buren, give me one more chance, will you? I love the Senators.
So do I, and there's only a few of us left.
Get your bat. Buster!
More seasoning, huh? The ball's only going for a 600-foot ride.
That's the longest ball I ever saw in my life.
I swallowed my chewing tobacco.
It's a great movie, folks. I saw this. Came out in 1958. My parents took us to the drive-in movie. We saw this at a drive-in movie. Me and my brother and sister. My brothers and sister. I was probably 6 years old, 5 or 6. And I remembered it when I grew up and rented it, bought the movie because I think it's a great movie. So there you have it. Okay. let's jump back here and let me copy the live chats. Susie Pole 16 and Foxy Grandma and Debbie BS, I hope you had a great vacation. I'm glad you were able to make it back and catch up on my videos. Let me copy the live chats into this comment. Boom. So it'll be a permanent part of the video. All right. So there you have it, folks. These videos that I've shared with you and the movie, I have the links in the description box. Also, I have the links to the producer's channel. So if you want to check that out. These videos that I've shared with you are videos that I've posted here on Murtech.com. Link to Murtech.com is in the description box. You can come here. It's a free site and check out all the no-nonsense, common sense, logic, and truth. Your one-stop shop for the information that you're not going to get on the mainstream media. Okay, so, I'd like to share all of this information with you. I have over 40 videos here, but I just don't have the time to do so. That's why I put together my Murtech Daily News Wrap-Up, where I've got Wendy Bell. I told you I'd have that in my playlist, and Dan Bongino and Bongino Report, so you can watch the rest of those. X22 Report, We the People News, American Center for Law and Justice, Benny Johnson, Black Conservative Perspective, Devory Darkins, McWater's Effect, News for Reasonable People, Robert Gouveia, On the Fringe, and we know a ton of information. It says I have 27 videos in here and about 10 or 11 hours worth of great information. So go ahead and take a break right now. Grab a cup of coffee or a donut or a sandwich and a soft drink or a beer or maybe a nice glass of wine and some cheese, and meet me back here in about 15 or 20 minutes so I can get this set up in Rumble Studio, and we'll have some great no-nonsense, common sense, logic, and truth. So with that being said, I do want to thank you for spending your time with me this evening. Hopefully, I'll get to see you again later, and may God bless.